So, welcome everybody. This is Jeff Hill, president of eTekhnos. I'm joined by Rachel and Kim on Team eTekhnos and a whole bunch of friends from the Richards Group. So, thanks everybody for hopping on. Most likely, it seems like everyone who's on this call are connected to, or we're connected to, with building the employee benefit center sites, or managing them, or making edits, or some sort of interaction with that on your side. So this training is to let you know what a site looks like, how it's different, and then do the training of how you can ongoing make edits as you're used to with these new benefit sites. So we've just started the conversion process from the Employee Benefit Center to the eTekhnos site called BenefitsEASY. So if I say BenefitsEASY, that's what we're talking about. And we're going to go look at one, see a sample, and then we're going to learn how to make all the edits, go through it as a full training session, and I'll show you some things afterwards. We have a written version of the training. We also have the major components of everything we do today broken up into smaller videos. And we'll talk about that, show you some examples along the way. But just a good idea. This should be a whole bunch of names and client sites that you guys all recognize, and a lot of your names are tied to it. So this is kind of a moving document. This is what we're going to be working on, powering through, of converting one site to the other. So this is a good thing to make sure. I think everyone has, but make sure if there's any updates that need to be made on the EBC, that we try to get in there and make those edits, because we are going to convert it as is. So as up to date as possible obviously makes a big difference. If we miss something or something changes along the way, no big deal. We'll make the update after we build the conversion, and part of the review process is for us to send it to you and say, hey, the site's been converted. Let us know if there's anything new or changed or something that we need to update. It's a great opportunity to customize and make things as up to date and custom as possible. So the main thing we want to look at today is just a quick look at what the new system looks like, what BenefitsEASY does. The most important thing is to know kind of an apples to apples thing is we built this obviously as a replacement to. If people aren't familiar with eTekhnos, I'll just do the real quick, knowing that I personally, Jeff Hill, I was the first employee of UBA, and me and our tech team before UBA started built the Employee Benefit Center for our own clients. So I've been using it since 1997 when we came up with the EBC idea and name, all the way through to this training call. I've had no break or separation from building benefit sites, both at UBA and then since 2005 when we started eTekhnos, to help firms do exactly what we're doing today. Either help you with the EBC or other solutions, all those kind of things. So just kind of giving you that familiarity of, we wanted to make sure the BenefitsEASY does the things that you're used to on a EBC. So every site's going to have a page for every benefit that a client offers their employees. It may look a little bit different. The wrapper may be a little bit different, but what it does and how it works should be very familiar to everybody. It's going to be a page for every plan. Rename them, move them around. It's a little different in this one, in that we created an accordion style, so they don't have to reload every time they click a benefit page. Once they get to the benefit page, all these tabs are already loaded, so they unfold really quick and really easy. This is kind of the sample style where most every template of an EBC starts with a place for documents, eligibility, contributions, helpful information, forms. This is kind of that standard what most sites have and what's included in them. So that should be familiar, knowing that when we convert it, when we go to your current EBC, if there's 5 more documents, another section that has to do with plan details, those are all those documents that are in there currently that are related and specific to them. It's going to be on the new site as well. We'll find a home for it. We may have to, create some customization. We might have to create a new section for documents, whatever it is. We'll feel that way through that process together. If there's really unique things, we may give you a call and say, hey, this is super custom or super unique. Let's talk about the best way to handle it. But I want to make sure everybody knows that the basics of a site are really there for the same reason, for them to have a page for every benefit they offer and all the relevant details for that. Some things that will be different is if it's an EBC only, UBA only related tool, like some of the free links, some of the resources that you can click on won't be on there because that's a UBA part and this one's not. This has new features like pages that are what you could do absolutely in the EBC. We built the first templates of the EBC. If you go build the EBC, you'll see in there Medicorp by eTekhnos. That's when we help make some basic templates for UBA. Same idea. We have kind of generic basic tables or pages for things like new hires or HR resources. These are containers or pages that we can add any document, PDF, Excel, video, all those things that we're going to talk about. If you don't need it, you hide it, delete it. You need to rename it, move it around. We'll cover all those things. So I want to make sure everybody knows it should be a very similar in what it does and how it works as an EBC. We just need to learn the new way of setting up and editing the site. The main thing for everybody to know is that we built this system in WordPress, and we did it very intentionally. The point of WordPress is right now it is the most widely used, most widely accepted, and familiar web design platform on the planet. That means if anybody's ever done a WordPress blog or a website before, that's the engine that builds us. So it's going to be familiar, easy to pick up. We have unlimited resources for help, new widgets, new plugins. If something doesn't work right, anybody can come in there that's familiar with WordPress and help that. We did that very, very intentionally because we want it to be not a standalone, completely different than system that you've never seen or will never see again. We kind of like that this is something that also helps you get to know a really popular functional and flexible tool like WordPress. So as a side effect of this, you might feel like a WordPress superstar after you build a few of these sites that literally can launch you into, if you ever wanted to build your own WordPress website or other things like that, you're going to feel a lot more comfortable after going through this training. So what we're going to talk about today is just we covered most of the things that look on the new site. I'm going to show a few things that are different, but honestly, as we go through the training, I'm going to touch probably on every aspect of the site as we train through it. But things that we want to let you know that are unique. There's automatic on every side is Spanish and English translations button. I'll mention it later, but if you ever have a different language, it's actually one of those things that's so rare that all you have to do is send a note to support at eTekhnos, and we'll find the language options and replace that for you. But I want to point that out as that's different and embedded. We have the ability to load a video right on the home screen or take it off. These are quick link buttons. So if a client has a online enrollment tool, a BenadMin that you're also using, I know you guys the Richards Group have lots of resources. So maybe it's a client that also has a benefit enrollment or wellness or payroll, anything that we like on that, we can change these things. I'll give you some examples when we go through that. We have a section on here. You can see it's branded to the Richards Group. It's just a real easy way as we go through this and as we talk to clients, say you have questions, we are here to help. The Richards Group help desk is available. Click on this, gets you to the contact page, which is kind of a basic contact page, but we'll update these things per the client as needed. Maybe part of the things that you feedback, give us on, let's change this. Here's the best contact, some of those finer points as we convert the sites for you. But ongoing, you're really easily going to be able to go and click and change that at any time. Other than that, the main thing is learning just how to set up, how to customize it, how to make edits to these pages and specifically the benefit pages. It's very similar to those, and be able to create users and be able to launch the site or make it live for somebody. So what we're going to do is first know there is going to be email that follows this up, right? There's going to be a lot of things that follow this up. If you're the type of learner that just needs to sit back and watch and absorb the first time and then go back and do it hands-on with a video or a written document, you have all those things available. I'll drag this over just so you know. A written user guide is going to be sent to you guys. I'm using it myself as we go through this, just to let you know. But then this recorded session. And then again, I have a BenefitsEASY help page, and I'll send you a link to that where I have all the main elements of what we're learning about today broken up into quick videos of just that topic, like how to add logos and files, how to edit the benefit page, how to create a new user. We have those in short videos. So if you want to just go and kind of tag team that and see what specific thing you might need a reminder on, you can go right there. But you also get the link to this full video. So let's do this. And in that video, you will be sent this, the trgportal.com. That is the home base, for your demo site that you can show anyone at any time. trgportal.com is the main URL for your client sites and your master site. It's also where you'll see a link that will say /WordPress. That's where you log in. Every WordPress has the same way to log in and has the .com/WordPress login. I'll give that to everybody. Don't have to write that down. And there will be 1 or 2 admin username and passwords that we set up that will get you to this exact screen. The one I have right now is not the same one you're going to use, but it's a username, password, just to get to the admin, and you'll land on this exact screen. And what you can see is, first thing you got to do is notice that we're going to look through just a little bit of familiarity. What's great about this is, in some cases, you can edit the site right inside. You can edit the page you're looking at. But what we're going to do when you log in, you generally get to a screen that says, hey, which site would you like to look at or get to the dashboard? So there's a master site, and today we created a test for us to do all this stuff. So go right from your my sites to the site you're going to work on. Everything will look the same, other than it'll be specific to that site. So I'm going to go ahead and click the dashboard of this test site. So this is really kind of the home page where the training is going to get kicked off, where you're going to start being the most familiar. So a couple of things that are standard kind of best practices is having 2 windows. Most of us have multiple monitors. That's always going to be a super big help of having what you're working on, maybe your Outlook or whatever it is on one screen, and the site you're working on. I think most people are familiar with that. Along with that, the name of the site will always be right here. This is test, and it gives you a chance to view the site. What I do is I right-click on this link and have it open in a new tab. That way I can have the site I'm working on in a tab right side by side. Another option to do is to take this thing and open it up in a different browser. Sometimes just making sure it's completely separate and hitting refresh is nice. But most commonly, I just take and put the new site in a new tab so I can kind of toggle back and forth, hit refresh when I make edits, and make sure I see what the edits or changes I made or the way I want. So basic things that we're going to do on a site is, first off, for the most part, everyone's going to be able to create a new site inside the system. And the way you do that, it's really easy. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to come back to this test site. I'm just going to show you exactly how it works. To do that, and this is in the steps in the setup notes, is you go to the dashboard of your admin. And the only thing you really do on this master site is go to this cloner. If you click on the cloner tool, new site, clone, you literally can go in here and name the site, and then you'll see all of your client site will be whatever you name it, .trgportal.com, test.trgportal.com, whatever it is. So as we are adding sites, I actually can click on this. Some of the first demo sites that we're building, you're going to see GSP, RSG, whatever the case may be, it's going to be in there. You label it, choose that, and then from whatever site that you want to make edits to, most commonly, there is the Richards Group is the master site. That will always be there, the most up to date, and you can make copies of that. Reasons to copy an existing site, if it's a clone, if it's a client that has very similar benefits but they're different, or maybe a spin-off company or a subsidiary, you guys get the picture. If there's ever a benefit to copying a site that you've already done, then you just choose it from that pull down or hit the Richards Group, label it, put in the domain that you want it to pop up, and hit clone. It literally takes about 10 to 15 seconds for it to think about it, and it will add that site right to here, and you'll be on the dashboard for the new site. So I'm going to skip ahead to cloning sites and to get to the dashboard. So again, whatever site you're on, right click on the test to be able to see it is our suggestion of how to edit the site. So for the most part, what I also like to do after you clone a site is kind of walk through the areas where we're editing everything that you, for the most part, see in the home page. Logo, any opening text, adding, changing, or removing videos, scrolling down to these sections. This is a video that's automatically updated every month, so you actually don't have to change that at all. This is a generic employee focused video, but I'll talk about how to edit these. Text, buttons, links, if you need to change this, whatever the case may be, these are the sections that we're going to talk about. It's a great way to get started with being familiar with the system. So going back to the dashboard, the very top button is kind of intentional being the very top. These are the 3 sections that help you customize a client site. So I'm going to click on the first one and hit Site Settings. Okay, first thing, client logo. This is the link or address in there. You'll see some of the things that are in WordPress is they give you the option sometimes to copy and paste the web address. We'll talk about that when we get the media page, but for the most part, any place you need an image or banner logo, there's going to be a button right next to it saying upload. That opens up, and this is our first glance. If you've ever done WordPress, this is super familiar. But it's basically saying, all right, well, you have a media library of documents you've already uploaded. Your master site's going to have some sample documents. It's going to have some sample logos, even some sample banners, if you guys want to change those, and we'll talk about that. Or if you need to upload one, it's as easy as dragging and dropping or selecting. All right, so I'll go to my desktop. There's our demo for today. I'll put a bunch of samples. I also have samples for everybody on the training page if you ever want to use these. But you can say upload any logo and just hit open. I probably already did this one, but you can see it's right there. That's the logo. Or if I want to click on one that's in there or change it, then you literally just click on a button and hit choose. Okay, that's going to update after we hit save. So I'll hit update settings. There you go. It's changed. And just to double check it, a rule of thumb just with any system, just because it's web-based and you lose connection, just remember, don't go too far without hitting save. Don't do too many things. We've all done it where you've worked on something, the internet drops off, or the system itself refreshes and through no fault of your own, or you just skip something and click a button without saving. So I'm always pretty big at hitting save, probably a little more than I need to, but that's just kind of my habit. All right, so there's that logo. Anything you need to do, a change on that is fine. We do have a favicon, right? That's a little icon that's right here, which is a cool touch. If you ever want to change that and really customize something for a client, you can upload or ask them for that. It's just like the normal upload image on that. They're just really small, usually 50 by 50 pixels. So you can try that. Here's the site title. So if I wanted to change that, you can see right up here. If I hover over that, you can see where these namings are connected. Test-benefit portal. So if you want to be specific. Okay. Put on something like that, or a client name. Client, if you rename that, if you want to say, oh, that's that. I want to get in the habit of people seeing the research group, whatever the case may be. Make any updates, and again, hit save and refresh. Some things are immediate, some things take a little bit, but you can see that's already changed. Jeff Test here, G, just some finer points of customizing the site. The next thing we might want to do is skip down to the second of the third site setting. The major setup steps is the banner. All right, so now we're talking about things like welcome to your portal. Here's that text that's right on this screen right here. So if you have a custom message, anything that you want to change specifically to that, you can add to that, copy and paste, type it in there. You will, feel your way just like anything else. If you have too much text in there, maybe you feel like the button's too far down, maybe I want to make it smaller or larger. All those things, the look and feel of the size and fonts is set, but I'll show you where you can change the color of it, which is important. So you can see there's the button and where it goes to. Most of the time, everyone has that button that goes to the benefit page, but if you want to have that to a custom site or an outside enrollment or video, whatever it is, you have the ability to change that. All of that is in the text button where it goes to. Now here's a pretty cool thing, the video. So one of the things that's available to you guys and everybody is if you have any custom videos that are you want to display on that screen, here's a little helpful hint. You take any YouTube video and you'll see what part of the address that you need to copy and paste there. If you take it out and you see that, it just takes out the video. So right now I have a video that goes to a sample online enrollment video. If you, Brain Sharks, PowerPoint, something that you've uploaded the video to, you can take that URL, drop it in there, and it'll fit it inside the site perfectly. It just is this reminder is make sure you go to the web address and has the watch v equals, that's the specific thing you tie there. In this case, just as an example, I'm just going to delete it so you can see what's in there. Take it off here, and then I'm going to hit update because I made a few changes. And that should take that video off. So some clients use them, some don't. A lot of them will not. So it's important to know if you don't have a video, just make sure you go in there and take out that link and it's gone. The last thing we can do on this is upload a custom banner image. So this is a standard image. If you want to use one of our other standard images or upload your own, upload. So say I just want to use that one. Maybe that looked pretty cool. Find one and upload yourself. A couple of just kind of helpful points on this. As you can imagine, some images are better than the others. There's definitely a that sounds like a great image, but it doesn't fit really great. This is a situation where you might change the text color. So if it's really light in the background and white's not working, then you can change that right here and hit update. And you can just play around with that. You can actually get custom colors. Rule of thumb on that, bigger images fit better, right? If it's a small image, if it's not at least 1,000 pixels wide and probably, I don't know, 600 to 800 pixels tall, it's probably going to get distorted and stretched out. So that's why we put some in there for you. But if you have your own images, if you request them from a client, just say, hey, it needs to be at least 1,000 pixels wide. It needs to be a big image that can fit, not one that's too small because it will definitely be stretched. We'll have a separate how-to video just on sizing images and things like that. But the stock images, most commonly people use one of the 4 or 5 stock images in the system, but we love customization. We love the opportunity for someone to send us 2 or 3, hey, images from their website, their marketing materials. It's a super easy way to customize a site where they really feel like it's theirs. It's their imprint. It's their fingerprints on it. We love the feeling that there's enough customization on it. They feel like they went out and hired some web person to make their own intranet. But instead, we're all together doing and providing that for them. So anything we can do on that is great. So explore that. Try that. We use shutterstock.com. So sometimes when somebody doesn't have a good image, but they're in a certain industry of real estate or, what was the one we did? Vineyard. We found some really cool stuff like that just to customize it. It's pretty fun. And they really notice it. So, but training wise, it's that simple to go change the color of the button and the text and anything else like that. Okay. Now, last thing that kind of ties with that is just the fonts and colors. The 2 things that I would do, just knowing that there are custom colors that you can put inside the site. So my rule of thumb, if this is kind of a green or whatever main button, you'll see you have a lot of options. The main ones are to change the main text throughout the site. This is the one that you'll absolutely just kind of play with, make edits to, kind of find the ones that, is that too much? We all have a certain level of, yeah, there might be red in their logo, but when I change everything to red, it might be way too much, right? So I'm going to change some of those. You can use the color chooser. You also can use the actual hex code. There's a lot of tools out there that let you just do the little eyedropper. We're going to come out with a video of a free download of a tool to get the free eyedropper that tells you the hex code that you can copy and paste, or you can just kind of, as close as you want, as close as you need to, use the tool to go through that. I'm going to select that one. Okay. Just as examples, and I'll just change that so you know what's on there. Have fun with that. Make some changes. Oh, see, I must have didn't click the right one, right? So, oh yeah, there you go. I hit my reminder to myself, hit update for things to actually work. Let's try this again. There you go. Okay. So Finding complementary colors are really great. Letting people know, hey, that we actually did color match your logo. They really appreciate that. So the other ones are just fine elements of the site, some secondary colors, some font colors. We're pretty, as a rule of thumb, we generally update some of the main buttons, just the top ones and the primary, before we change too many of the other ones. But just know that you can always get back to any image or color that you need with one or two clicks and hit update. Okay, so some of the things we have updated: logos, text, images. These kind of things that we're going to work on next are some of the pages, and this also gives us a chance to get to where you spend most of your time after a site's built. It's on the pages. So first thing we're going to do is go to pages, and we're going to find a home page. All right, so here's a whole nother set. With any site that you're going to see in a minute, we're going to hit benefits, then contact us, and HRS, or HR resources. You just find the page. Don't worry about too many of these other things unless you're going to duplicate it. But just to edit, you click on the actual page name, and it'll be consistent as you go through this. There'll always be some things, because it's WordPress, that feels like, all right, do I need to mess with this? For the most part, everything is closed, and visible is the things that you have to edit, right? The editor window should always be familiar to you as far as what page you're working on. So right here, this image, text, and details and button is right here, the home page, additional buttons that match right there. And what we can do on that is, if there's an image and I need to change it, this is exactly what you'll do for the rest of this training. Whatever page that you're working on, you're going to be able to go to each section and either move it around, copy it, delete it, or make an edit. You click on that, the editor will pop up. If it's text, it'll show text. If this one is an image, so right now, so say I was going to link to bin admin or something like that. So right here, I'm going to go up there and say, all right, first off, I'm going to change this. I'm going to double check. This one's just text. So do I need to, all right, online enrollment. So maybe we call it benefits enrollment where you're at. Okay, if I need to go to something, I can. Or here's the text. If you want to name it, change the text. All right, whatever the case may be, hit save. And then, so you can see it's text, images, really simple. Edit what is right in front of you. And then the button, if you wanted to change it or link it to something else, it's super easy. Click on the edit. For the most part, the key things to edit are going to be right in front of you and very visible. What does it say? Where does it go to? And you can hit change. There are some style. For the most part, it's all set. It's already built to go part of the font. So most of the time, you don't need to click on that. If you want to get adventurous on the advanced steps, after you get familiar with that, we have a whole video just on advanced settings. That's where you kind of go use this test site as kind of a sandbox and learn some of the advanced steps if you find it. But today, we're just going to worry about the basic steps. Right here, select URL. So you can see right now it's going to another admin system. But if I want to change it, copy and paste it, it's already set to open up in a new link. That's always what we say is anytime you link something, have it open up in a new link so you don't have to worry about it replacing the site. An employee clicking on it, now they're like, what happened to the portal? Rule of thumb is always to have it open up in a new link. Hit save, and now once again it's a little bit different, but the update is the most important thing. Saving your changes, that is how, until you hit update, it's not saved, it's not live. So that is the reminder. Always hit update after you make changes. So if I go and refresh, take a look at what I've done, there you go. Benefits enrollment, be swift, open up. Cool rule of thumb, you see right down here, it's hard for me to show it to you, but right down here, when you hover over a link, a lot of websites, a lot of browsers will display it. So if you want to just do a quick look and see what it does without actually clicking on it. Now, for the most part, before you want to go to anything that you share to a client, of course, you want to click on it just to make sure it's working and acting as it's supposed to. But you see how it did open up in a new window. All the changes have taken effect. Super easy, super comfortable. And then what you can do now, the last thing on this screen is that custom heading, which is the help desk. For the most part, you may not need to edit that. We have a custom Richards Group Employee Help Desk branded color and name to you and clicks to the contact. But if there's a certain piece of information you want to do, then feel free to come here and change it. And just like with everything else, hit the pencil to edit. And whatever it is, if it's a link, it'll pop up a link, or text box, it'll open that up. And again, hit update. There is an image there already. If a client says, you know what, we want to have our own contact information, we want all employees to go to us, no problem. You can change that to have whatever details in text. And if they want to give you a logo or just a big help logo, it's as easy as updating it right here. Everything we've done so far is super simple. Just to show you how an image is slightly different, but not a whole lot, there's the media library, it's called. If I want to add a new logo and replace that one, I just click on that. And then we're back to that library of images that I can either upload and set or choose from one that I've already built. Really easy, really consistent, and hit update. Okay. I'm going to take a breath, see if anybody has any questions they want to hop on and either ask or chat before we move on. Okay. Last thing we're going to do is, just so you know, the footer is kind of set, but if you want to put any custom information on the footer, it is a little bit different than the other ones. So you might have to go back to the help guide, or if you haven't done it very often, hopefully you don't do it very often at all. But if you need to, you go to Appearance and Widgets. Again, this is in the written guide, so you'll be able to see this anytime you need to. But then it'll guide you to say, open up Appearance and Widgets and go to this left footer. It's the only one that says footer for the most part. Other than this one, we kind of hide that. But there's the text. You just open it up, and there is your simple editor. If you want to change that, add the year, change the hyperlink, whatever it is, or if the client says, hey, I want to make sure my name is everywhere, that kind of thing, that might be the reason. But we obviously built this to be all powered by you. So we generally wouldn't suggest to offer the client to change that. We want to make sure they know it is powered by the Richards Group and provided by you guys. But obviously that's a whole different animal. If a client asks you that, you just need to know how to change that if you need to. So after that, we have changed everything on the home page. The next thing we're going to learn is the editor, how to work on the editor pages. You got a great intro from what we just did. It's not really going to be all that different. So just to show you what I mean, I'm going to go click on HR Resources. That is this page right there. And we'll just kind of customize that, change it, move it, remove it, whatever we need to do. It's all in here. Okay, so this is a kind of depository for forms and any details. So what makes this page up? All right, we hit edit, and you can see just like before, the details of the page are pretty familiar placeholders. There's text, there's image, and there's documents. So just like everything else, I want to change the name or details of the page. Then you go to whatever section it is and hit the pencil. So let's just say this document needs to be updated to their employee handbook. Simply click on the pencil, open it up, and just like before, there's the way we can, maybe they have a new employee handbook. And right now it's gone to that one. If we want to update a new one, then all right, I'm going to remove it. I'm going to select a new file, upload it, or find one that's in there. So let's just say this handbook is the new one, and insert. Okay, that's simple, and hit save. Now you can see it's renamed. Now if I want to move it, anything that has the little 4 arrows, you can see it just like on my cursor and the button. Now if I want to put this underneath that, switch them around, whatever the case is. If I want to copy or delete it, that's when we have first chance we get to do that. So say they have benefit summaries and they're similar names, and sometimes it's easy to hyperlink them with this long name and just go and hit clone. You can see it just put it right underneath it. Go edit, whatever the button is. And maybe I change this to old. Okay. Move those around any way you like. Edit them, change them as you like. The stock image, you can absolutely change that. If you want to just throw their logo on there, just because it's kind of a HR feeling type of page, you're like, you know what? I like the stock photo, but let's customize it a little bit more. They gave us a few images that that you can upload stock photos, more things on that. Betsy, I see your text. I'll answer that in 1 second. Actually, I'll answer it right now. Click on this. You can drop multiple files. So if you drag, you highlight a screen that has 5 or 6 documents. I personally do that every time I build a page. I'm working on medical or something like that, and I got 5 or 6 documents. I save it in one spot, and I drag it all into this, and I'll upload them all at one time. Good question. Thanks, Betsy. But you can go through that and say there's a stock photo, or you just want to put their logo in there and set that in there, and it'll replace what was in that screen. And I'll hit save, and it replaces that. You can see it right there. And again, hit update. So easy editing on the site, just like that. All right. If we need to edit the name, it's right here. So HR. Sure, we can change that. Empty space, change the forms. You guys are kind of getting the picture. It's built to be easy. Hopefully you're starting to get tired of me talking about the same thing over and over because it's easy. So I'll kind of scoot along, show you some things that are a little bit different. But I'll refresh this one really quick. See if everything's stuck. There you go. So HR Docs, change that. There's the logo. There's all the things we talked about. Okay, let's do something a little bit different. This is where you spend most of your time building the site, is the Benefits tab. It's only slightly different in just 2 aspects. One is that accordion type of page, right? We created an accordion dropdown. So as this loads, it's going to see I'm in medical. I'm going to close this. Sometimes it's easier to close that just from the beginning to see what we're dealing with. All right, I'll go to the live page, make sure I'm in the same spot. Editing these pages are exactly the same. The only thing that's pretty cool and a little bit different on these things is when you open that up, you can copy. All right, so say they have 2 medical pages. You can absolutely copy and clone and move them around just like you would do anything else. So there's their medical page. Clone that. And so as that's working, what we're going to do also is see how everything should be pretty familiar. I'm going to point out a couple of things that are unique to just the benefit pages. Okay, so first off, text, documents. I'm going to point out a couple of things. One thing, these buttons that say go, you see there's a description. It's not part of the site, doesn't say document button. That's actually for you to know that that is set up to link to a document. When I click on the pencil, it's already built for it to go, all right, let's link to a document. Let's go find one. Let's go upload one. There are different kinds of buttons. They can all be interchangeable. They can be used. But if you want to just go to this button, you see how it doesn't say document button. So if I click on the pencil to this button, it's because it's set up to be more of a hyperlink. It's going to somebody's website. So there's just a couple of different options in there that work for that. So if you're in here and you say, hey, I'd really like to add a document over there. Well, great. Easiest thing to do, and I'll show you how to do it the long way, but the easiest way is, say you clone a button that you need. All right, so I'm going to clone that one. There it is, but I'm going to drag it over here, and now I have a document button over there. Clone it, copy it, delete it. All those things are really great. They operate basically the same way other than it links to a document. One links to a web address where you can leave it blank, not to link to anything, but that's what a button does. So know that that is on the screen. The forms, the text, the details are all super easy. If you want to add more text, that's, again, a text box is something you can clone as well. So you're saying, you know what, I really need to add some text and details before people just go to these helpful resources. Well, I'm going to drag that over here. I'm going to change that. And this is all custom. If you have just something you want to add to it, and you just want to say, hey, here is what we'd like you to do. try your best to figure it out on your own, but if you have trouble, hit contact us, and HR would love to help you if you get stuck. Some sort of custom text you guys might find helpful. That's the way this works and operates. A real quick glimpse into the advanced features that are not really super advanced, but we have a whole video on advanced steps. But one of them is this little plus button. You want to add something that's not on there. Say you accidentally deleted the 2 buttons that were not document buttons. You're like, oh man, I deleted the hyperlink type of button. Well, you click on this and it gives you an idea of all these elements you can add. But that button we just talked about, there it is. And it adds the button in there. That document button, that's where it came from. That's how you add it. The custom video you guys watch, you'll have access to. We'll spend some time on some of the advanced features that we won't cover today, but it's if you want to add a new video player to an internal page. You want to add a Google Map. All those things, I show you how to do those inside the custom steps. But inside this, we made a lot of changes, so let me make sure I hit update. And then I'm going to show the last step of an internal page that is unique, and that's the table, the contributions table. So let me let that refresh. Takes a little longer because it has all those accordions. Maybe still thinking over there, but we'll get that done. Let me do it one more time to make sure it's in there. This refreshes pretty fast. There you go. All right. So there's my little text I kind of dragged and copied and put in there in that extra document. So everything is in there. Everything is working. There's my double medical. So if I need to go back in there now and change that to PPO plan, HMO, gold, silver, anything you might need to do on that. Now, if we go back to this page, you'll see if I close it, there is my next one. See, I cloned it and it's right there. Well, let's go back to this. This time I'll just do dental just for the fun of it. Okay. Just to show you it's similar. What is unique about this is that if there is a contributions table, in order to give you a very robust, customizable table, we had to use a widget, right? That's kind of a part or a plugin of WordPress, a special bolt-on widget that really gives you added flexibility. We have the ability to add that to any site, and that's going to really prove itself throughout the years as we add new features. It'll be by way of saying, hey, everybody, in your admin is a new feature called whatever it might be, Google Maps plugin, and we could have a quick video that shows you how to customize your site. This is an example. It's embedded in the system, but to get all these good tables, we all know from building all these sites all these years, there's unique voluntary contribution schedules. There's unique. Every client seems to make a super confusing voluntary schedule somehow, or just general classes and different contributions. So we knew this needed to be pretty robust. So how this works is we just have one of those widgets that works right here. You'll see it says table ID 2, meaning there's a table called 2 that is already set up in there, and how we edit that or copy and change it or edit that is going right here to the right. Hopefully we tried to make it so easy where if you just look over to the right, you'll see most of the things that you need to edit. That's not obvious. Site settings, pages, cloning, appearance. But you can see this is what the site looks like, and what the standard is medical, dental, vision, have a contribution schedule. So you want to edit any of these, I'll go to dental. You click on that and it'll open the details and the things that you can see, right? It has a kind of a title, and here are the columns that you can edit, change, add, remove, change the details, right? Whatever detail that you might need to do, you can put those in there. We will have a video just on the tables as well, just to make it easy for everybody. I'll do this one just to make sure we see it. Okay. And just like everything else, make sure you surf, look, and hit save changes. The main thing is on each of these pages, it's going to tell you what the shortcode is. Most of the time it's already in there. You just might need to change literally one number, okay, from one to the other. Let's just pretend on that medical page, I'll go back to the table press. And remember, I copied the medical to have 2. Well, they're probably going to have different contribution schedules. So what I'll do here is just go and copy, right? It's going to refresh and have a copy of the medical contribution schedule right in the screen. So now you can see that. I'm going to have to go click on it make a few edits, and then I'm going to either see what number that is that's now in there I need to update in the site, or just copy the whole thing. Okay, whatever the case may be, change those things on there, and you can see I'll save it and scroll up. Once it refreshes, all right, done. There it is, table 5. So what I need to do, and you'll run into that when you go, hey, I made, how come this is not showing my changes, right? It's all because it just needs to reference the right table. So you go right back to your pages, go to your benefits tab, go to the page that you want to edit, and make sure it's referencing the right number. Pretty easy after you do it once, maybe twice. And since anything that we feel like may be different than just editing pages, we'll have a video just for that. Okay, there's our second one. Say we made changes to it. Then you can see right there, I need to edit the text. It'll pop open, and I can replace the whole thing, or I can do it as simply as change that to 5, save, update, and go refresh the site. There you go. See, my 2 is in there. Everything worked great. So inside the editor, the one other thing on that one is, again, if you need to remove a page, update, we saw that. You just open it up and hit clone if you need to copy one. If you need to edit the name, right? So I changed that. So I'm not getting confused. Make sure you change that. It's kind of the rule of thumb. If you're building one, or you want to just come behind us and say, hey, we decided to change the naming, change as much as you can. Make sure you help yourself stay organized. If there's a page that you absolutely don't need, a plan page, then of course you can just delete it. Go back in there, edit, copy, and clone. So we have gone through a ton of the edits. Now, what you do for HR docs or new hires or benefits, we've covered everything on that. Contact us. It's just another page. It is finding the home screen and going to pages and going to contact us. So really, the big things that we want to cover last, all right, we've added documents, we've added images, we've edited pages. I'm scrolling the help document. And the last couple things I want to show you is just all right, now I need to set up a user. I need to set up a user that allows us to go through that. So last thing on that one is from the admin dashboard, go to, once again, hopefully pretty easy for everybody, go to users. And I can click just users, and it takes me the same thing as all users. All right, we want to create a user. So the reason for a user is the username and password. So as a default, when you create a site like this, maybe this was just a demo, we're really big on making sample sites. You guys have probably done that a bunch before to show someone. The Richards group there is for the master demo, but if you want to make a branded one, a customized one, then when you make that and you grab that web address, you can send somebody. They will not require a username and password by default, but to create a username and password for someone, that's what this step is. They have to be a user in the system, all right? This is probably the one, the first time you do it, just follow the steps. Again, I'll just drag this over just so you know I'm following the same steps that everybody else does and that you'll have access to all the time. We go through that, add a new user on the top. All right, and you go through that. A username is required. This is one of those things that having a little spreadsheet of that, we obviously have one with you and for you, so you might end up using our spreadsheet. There's going to be a spot for username and password. There it is. What your current site is. By the way, our goal is to, I don't see any reason why it won't be, whatever the username and password was already set up on the EBC is what we'll be setting up for you on the new site. But let's just say this is a username. It does, one of the weird things about WordPress, it does require an email. It doesn't need to be sent to anybody. It doesn't even need to be sent to you. So what we usually do is whatever the name of the group is that we built the site, that test dot trg portal. I usually do the same thing and just do test at trg.com. This does not need to go anybody because I'm clicking that button right here. It's just part of WordPress and making sure everybody has their unique stuff. This also allows you to have that username and password in case somebody else on another site had a some sort of username that you used. This helps us get that. We go through that, put all those things in there, username required and email required, and just change that to doesn't need to be sent an email to confirm it. That way it just is confirmed once you do that. The other thing is set up the password. So after you do that, and we go back to users, all users. There you go. You can click on that. You can see my test. This is where you add the password. A rule of thumb is, and we've learned this all through the years, is just wherever you put the username and password for your safekeeping is great. We also literally, if it's client name benefits, we generally remember that stuff, right? But we still go and type it in right here. So while you're in the system and somebody goes, hey, I need this login, or I can't remember what the password is, it's always a reference even in the site. So that way maybe you don't need to go to your spreadsheet and open it up every time. But go through that username and go through that. Now here's where it says new password generate, but I'm going to change it to whatever I would like. Maybe I change it to and as we all know, benefits is the weakest password out there, but we've all used it. It's kind of what we've done at eTekhnos as well. We're going for the people to remember it and access it more than a super secure, impossible to remember site in there. So we're going to do that. Yes, I'm confirming the use of a weak password. And then I'm going to hit update. Okay, I don't need that. That's my browser asking for that. It'll update the site. If you want to give somebody an auto login for their intranet, that's a specific thing that TRG asked us about, and we want to make sure was part of the basic feature. You can see if you scroll down there you go. You see auto login link. You click on this and hit new. It's going to generate for you, and you can literally take this, copy it, and send it to a client and say, hey, if you want to have a version of this without any username and password, this is the auto login link. Send it to them, and while they're on the internet, they can click on that, and it should work just perfect for them. One of the custom features we want to include in the site. So we, in just 2 minutes before I tried to get this all in 1 hour, timed it, well, pretty great. A couple things that I'm going to show you just so you know that the additional things are on there. There's a couple of things like we made a portal images help sheet, kind of the preferred sizes of images, just so if you're like, hey, I want to make sure logos fit really good, sometimes sizing them beforehand is helpful. That's in there. There's a cloning features. There's always going to be a few things that we would, at least in the beginning, if you need help with because they're super advanced, just know that you always have support at eTekhnos.com, that when you have questions, you can go there. The support site that we're building, I'll pull that up while we're talking. But classes, some of these specialty items on occasion you run into, it may be something you just ask us for, or if you get stuck on, we'll put that in there for the site. But right now, if anybody wants to unmute, ask a question, or go to the chat, I'm going to pull up a couple things just to show you where you can go for some help. Any questions?
Hey, Jeff, Janine.
Yep.
I just want to say to our team that Haley and I will be putting together a must-have list for the EBCs. Obviously, each client will have individual themes and things like that, but there are a handful of things that are must-haves for each EBC site to have, and we'll send those out to our team, as well as a little FAQ document, you know, who to go for help. So, and then we will send that along when we have the instructions, as well as a nice little packet for our team to have.
That's awesome. Yep, great way to do this together. We'll take your feedback. I will send a link to this page. It is always found on the master site called BenefitsEASY /training. So this recorded video that we've done right now will probably be saved. I thought this was a great training session. A lot of great questions. I didn't mess up too bad. So first draft of that for you guys. We'll save it. I'm going to go literally and hit stop right now.